it's the aunt, it's the grandmother somewhere saying, man, that guy at Corliss is doing a great job. And I know they are. I don't know you that well, but I know that's what's happening. Just listening to your conversation. And it's just, I think we are not doing enough with our kids in that capacity. Just like you said, man, you get off a bus and you got on the bus with a father. You probably were excited getting off the bus. I can't wait to tell my pops, and my pops ain't there. My mom died when I was 40. I'm still struggling. And at age 40, I'm struggling. So at age 15, 16, 17, it's unbearable. So, again, thank you. Now, with that being said, when as we're dealing with these kids, what do you think is a good method for the community? Well, how can the community help with the kids? Because you mentioned the cutbacks and things of that nature. We don't need you struggling, because when you're struggling, that you may not be able to help. So how can us as our community in Chicago help Corliss, help Simeon, help Westerhouse, help North Lawndale, and so forth and so on? What are some of the things you think we can do to help you guys be the best coaches you can be?
Well, I think just more community programs. Need more community events, a lot of outreach, just programs of just training, just being getting the information disseminated to the community so the parents can become empowered with the knowledge. You know, my mother couldn't read. My sister used to always read a meal. I just thought that it was just a thing that parents had to do. And then I remember, my parents telling me, I was in trouble from a note coming home, but she never knew what the note stood for or what it was about. And I just instantly took the consequences from that. So we have to educate these parents. We have to make sure they're knowledgeable of the information that they're receiving and that they're able to transfer that down to the community. But what I think that's really was really key to is just program opportunity. Safety. I think we just need a bond between the Chicago police, the sheriff department, and just the state police. Just all come together and be able to support when we do come out into the community that we're safe, that we can be able to trust them. They can be able to trust us. So I think the more community involvement, grants and programs, in order for the community to be able to come out and get involved, I think employment is huge. If our community is not employed, they're not able to pay bills, crime goes up. I'm able to see Safe Passage and a lot of programs for ex-offenders, for people being able to get a second chance to work is huge in our community. Criminal activity is just a no-no. It's just to a point where no one wants to give anybody a second chance. It's just an automatic blackball in a lot of people's lives. And I think coming out with these second chance programs are huge because people have been so hid behind walls. They've been so disconnected from the community because they couldn't be a part of the community. So I think just having second chance programs with the city, state, Chicago public schools would be huge. Involving and really adjusting ex-offenders back into the community is huge, and it's happening very little. So they still ostracized, and they still on the out, so that's why they tend to reoffend. That's why a lot of people look at them and say, hey, what are they doing and why are they doing it? They have to look that way, and they have to do those things because they can't be a part of you because society doesn't accept them a part of you. So I think those type of programs are huge. I think it's huge that our kids are able to get some job skill employment. After School Matters does a great thing. Youth Advocate Program does a lot of things. The city and the mayor has a program that empowers kids. Those things are huge, but they're small. We need more of that. There are a lot of programs out here, but there's very few people that are knowledgeable of them because the information is not, privy to them. It's who you know and who's who in order to even get the information. Just to get the information on it, not necessarily that you're going to get it, but wow, I never even heard that, and time and the deadline was so short, you didn't hear about it. It's almost impossible to get the community and our kids connected. There's a deep separation between that, and I think it comes just from networking. We're not networking. We don't have basketball in the street anymore. We don't have street tournaments. We don't have community tournaments. The school doors are scared to open up because of so much violence around in those communities. But that's a part of the partnership with the Chicago police and the state police and so forth, for them to be able to come out and say, hey, you know what? We can have these programs. Let's try it. Let's do it. And let's show that it can be safe.
And you know what? There's the irony in what you're saying is Kenny Anderson said something along the same lines. We're losing our kids to other things. Our kids are not even like you're right, man. I've walked past. It's 93 degrees today in Chicago. I drove past at least 8 basketball courts, and there wasn't any kids out on the basketball courts. I mean, okay, is it the violence or what are you seeing? Because that's beyond me for it to be sun outside in the city of Chicago and no kids on the basketball court.
You know what it really is, Brian? I think it's a combination of things. It's a combination. Do we feel safe and do we trust? In my community, it comes a certain time that you trust nobody. The lighting was so bad. Could we go out there? You often go in other communities, and other communities have great lighting. They have police presence. They're fenced in. A lot of our rims are towed down. Our parks are muddy. Their grasses are great. Their grass is green. We got mud. So the environment has a lot to do with it, and how the community is kept up is very important. How safe do you feel? I left Libertyville this morning, and I seen a police officer without his weapon on. He was on the court shooting ball with the kids. Yeah, and I haven't seen that in Chicago in a while. That the kids will throw the police the ball so he can shoot it. He's out there without a weapon. So, we so used to seeing weapons. We so used to seeing guns. Sometimes that's an indication, are we safe? There's certain places and institutions, whether you're the police or not, guns are not welcome here. So as the police, sometimes you have to sentimental to the kids. Hey, man, I can come out here and, we don't need a gun. Some kids may feel, man, in order for me to go to the park, I need a gun just to go up there and shoot some hoop. Police need it, why I don't need it. He carrying a gun. That's his protection. It's my protection. And they feel empowered that way, as opposed to saying, you know what, police's presence is always in Chicago Park District or is always in the community. I'm safe. Our kids can go up there and they can have a good time. We can barbecue. But often, when we in parks, in my community where I go up at, if we hang out in the park, it's the police who putting us out. It's the police telling us to pack our stuff and go home. Or you going to jail. Instead of embracing us and saying, you know what, this my beat. I'm going to be out here as long as I can until I have a call to take, and then I have to go. But go ahead and enjoy yourself. Be safe. But instead, we have to wonder, are we going to get kicked out or are we going to jail? That's huge. Which type of officer are we receiving? Are we receiving an officer that we seen in elementary that they portray, or are we seeing that one telling you next time I see you going to jail, or come over here, let me check your pockets? So it's a trust. It's a combination thing that our kids and our community have to deal with. Do we trust when we see a white jacket, and say, hey, I want a sarge? Are you going to jail just because you asked for a sergeant? You just exercising your rights. But now when you ask for a sergeant, it becomes offensive because they feel, oh, you want to go over my head. No, I just want the best security, and I want the best trust, that I'm able to trust you, as opposed to you bringing me to a car and telling me to spread out and check and going through my vehicle, which often happens. I see that, going past all of the parks. I see a lot of cars spread out. I see a lot of people, they asking questions as to why. But again, you drive into a lot of these north suburbs and these south suburbs, that doesn't happen often.
And you know what, Coach Jones, I too and victim of that. And you know what? I remember a couple years ago, I heard somebody. I'm gonna leave them nameless. They said we need to be more forgiving, and what you just said does make a lot of sense because I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a bias against police because me and two of my friends were walking home one day from a park, and you know how you play this. Let's see who can spin the ball in your finger game the longest. We walking away from a basketball court, and I got jumped by the police. And up until this very moment, when you said that, I did have a bias against the police because of that, and it never dawned on me that we need to start reaching out to them, have them get in contact with a Coach Thorpe, have them get in contact with a Coach Jones and Coach Irvin, so you guys can be a conduit between the community and the police. So now we have a security force in the community versus people in our minds or the reality of it. Either way, practicing Gestapo tactics and running us away from things that could be deterring us from crime. So thank you for that enlightenment also, because I'm not going to, literally, when you start, as you were speaking, that hit me because I do have, I'm not going to say I don't have it anymore because you can't do away with a bias in less than 30 seconds, but it did bring awareness to me. Do you think that's possible that coaches like yourself and each one of these communities can reach out to the police officers and have 5 or 6 of them come in and meet with the guys, because face recognition means a lot? Do you think that would truly help?
Yeah, we're doing it now at Corliss. We've been doing it for the last couple of years since I've been here. We're doing it. Sergeant Parker at the 4th District is an intricate part of his presence. He's not assigned here, but he does all of our games, and he dispatches his team, and the team recognizes the kids. The kids recognize those specific officers, and they recognize Parker, and he keeps it safe for them. Officer Q at the 5th District, which is also around the corner from Corliss, he does a open gym, community open gym, and the 5th District comes in here and play with the kids during the summer. It's amazing, that the police comes in and we inside the building with them, and kids from the community being able, you patrol them, so when they see you, they know you by first name. You know them by first name. You built a relationship. That's a trust in itself right there. We pride ourselves to open up our doors. Every time we have a function, I either email or contact Sergeant Parker, and he makes it priority that we able to open the doors and feel safe, And we've been blessed just to have those type of officers to come in our building and firsthand without a bias and truly try to build a relationship with the kids. Officer Williams, she's with the CAPS program at the 5th District. Officer Williams, she's amazing. When I tell you she's amazing, if you in school, just how she feels about you, and it's good that she can transfer that energy. Her energy coming into Corliss, I never see her have any negative interaction with anyone. She's accepted because she understands that I got to have a relationship, and relationship is everything with these kids because they don't even sometimes have relationships in their own home, or even if they have a home. These kids come from so many different walks of life. The police have to be able to have some sensitivity in order to say, you know what, let's approach this with some caution as opposed to approaching this with the training sometimes that we receive and saying, you know what, we have to act first. And that's what's going on in our community. A lot of police officers feel they have to act first as opposed to having the approach and saying, let me be open-minded.
Are these officers from our culture, or are these officers from other cultures as well, or is it a mixture?
It's a mixture.
Wow,
and yeah, it's a mixture. And when I say team, I mean they really a team. When I walk a lot in this community, and when I see them at Gately Stadium, when I see them at football stadiums, I don't even be knowing some of the officers' name, but they know me. Is because they know that it's genuine about giving back. I go to a lot of football games at Gately, And I see this diversity that they're trying to bring